Good evening, everyone. It is pretty late out here, but part of the requirement to fulfill what I promised to some of the students about the practical course in PowerPoint that we already covered in class. So I'm going to repeat the same thing for those of you that missed the practical in class or do not understand some of the basic functions that we have covered so far, so that you can be able to do it on your own. And feel free to pause the video at any time you want and then practice on your own and then come back to it. Okay, we did something in the class that have to do with the master slide template, and then so that wherever you apply in the master slide, it will cascade down to the remaining slides. So I will just go ahead and open PowerPoint, and this is the same thing that we're going to have. uh, no, let's say, okay, we open up our PowerPoint, and this is what we have from the beginning. We have PowerPoint, and I will be leading you to advanced PowerPoint today, Ebrima Sarr. And then we have the slides. There is nothing magical about the slides. We already discussed about it. We also have the slides that we type, and we have some formatting tips that we want to cover. We have this that we want to convert to SmartArt, and then we want to predict the election results for the final slide. Okay, so without much ado, I just want to go into the basic to explain some of the basic things about PowerPoint. Like if you want to add a new slide, you come here, new slide, and you have a lot of slides that you have. You have title slides, slides with content, and then section header, two content slide. Most of the time you will be using the title slide and the title with content, or most of the time you can rename this slide to be title and bullet slide. Normally it's a title slide that has some bulleting points, so you can rename it as title and bullet point slide. Okay, you can also choose one of the slides or this blank slide to name it as your changing slide. In case if you want to apply any changes into your slide or your presentation, you will use the changing slide. But basically, the most important thing is for you to know that if you want to add slides in the PowerPoint, let's go ahead and add a title slide, and you can see. So we just add a title slide here. It's title slide. It's allowing you to enter the title and click here to add subtitle. Okay, we go ahead and delete it. Okay, if we want to allow title, if we want to add title and content slide, let's go ahead and add it here. Let's see, this is a title and content slide. You can click here to add a title, and you can click here to start adding your content. Okay, so basically if you want to add a slide or in presentation from scratch, you can just add it like this. There is nothing magical about this. It's slides that I prepared, and you already know, if you're in my class, you already know that this is something that we covered in class, so I want to repeat it. So those of you that missed the practical, or those of you that did not understand during the class practical, you were able to learn it on your own. So feel free to post it anytime you want and then come back to it. Okay, you can see that when you get into PowerPoint, and then this is the home tab, you can see you have pretty much some layout. You can have the bold, you can have the italicized, you can have the underlined, you can change the font type, you can change the font text, you can increase the font by here. For example, in a normal PowerPoint, if you want to increase the text, instead of highlighting everything in PowerPoint, you can just click on the box. Once you get to the edge of the box and click it, you will see that the box will mark in all the four corners in the middle. Once you have that, know that the box is active, and if you click on this, like if you want to increase, all the text will increase at the same time. Okay, if you want to decrease it, you can see that all the text will reduce at the same time. Okay, instead of highlighting everything and trying to miss some, highlight some, miss some, no, you will have the problem. Just click outside the box. For example, this is font size 24, and if you click on any of the text is 24, so we want to increase the whole Ebrima Sarr. Instead of going in and highlighting it, no, we just want to click on the edge of the box until it gives us the four corner mark, then we come here to increase it. Once you click increase, you see the whole Ebrima Sarr will increase at once. There's another tip that you can know about PowerPoint. It is very easy. Okay, you can come here, and if you, for example, if you stroke this is a way of saying that this is like you stroke it. This is not important. You can also add a shadow. You can underline your text but it is not necessary to underline your text if your PowerPoint presentation is, if your title is designed in a very perfect way, you don't need to underline it. Okay, you can italicize it depending on your style of presentation. You can bold it, it's depending on your style of presentation. Okay, you can also change the background color of your presentation. For example, your title, you can change it here. You can choose the different colors that you want. Okay, this is a manual way of doing things that you can do it one by one in a normal slide. But if you do it in this PowerPoint slide, you have to do it in the next one, and you have to do it in the next one. Oh, but that's not a phone. It's not phone if you have more than 50 slides, 40 slides to apply all the information that you apply in this slide to the next slide. Let's say we want to add our corporate institute logo. For example, UTG, we want to add the UTG logo. Or we want to create a copyright for our presentation and we want to add the copyright in our presentation. It will not be fun to able to add the copyright in all the logos one by one. It will not be fun. So we want to use something that will help us, that once we select a copyright and paste it in one of the slides, it will replicate it to the rest of the slides. That's what we want to do. So in that case, we will use something called the master slide template. Okay, you can see there is something that is secret here in PowerPoint. Once you click on any of the text box, it will active, and once you will notice this, there is a format button. For example, let's see, if you click outside, you see there is nothing here after the view. It's tell me what you want to do. This is the last option. But you will notice that if you click inside the text box, it will active and it will give you an option called the format. This is a format option which helps you to format your text to look the way that you want it to look. For example, it's give you, this is not something nice that you can add to your PowerPoint to decorate it or to design it to look the way that you want it. Okay, for example, you can use this. All right, but if you do that, you have to do this to the remaining text. You can apply some formatting, but it will only apply to this slide and you have to repeat this to the rest of the slides. So know that the formatting options is very important and it helps you to design your PowerPoint. But this is slow. This process is slow. We want to do this using the master slide template, that whatever whenever we add something to a particular text, it will apply or cascade down to the remaining text. That's what we want to do. So we will go ahead, start now, and then start the master slide template. You can do that by going to the view option and then selecting this option which is called the slide master. Remember here, before we leave our normal slide template, this is the title and the this is the heading slide. This is the title slide. It has a title and a subtitle. So if you click on the title and the subtitle, if you go to the master slide, it will also take you to the title and the subtitle. But also, I said this in class that the title slide is all is independent with the rest of the slides. If you want to add anything to the title slide, you have to go to the master slide template and add it to the title slide in the master slide template. It will only cascade to the title slide in your presentation. But if you want to apply to the rest of the slides, you go to the slide master in your master slide template, you apply there, it will cascade down to the rest of the slides. For example, this is the title slide. So if we go into the master slide, we can see that our text is our box is already highlighting the title slide. As you can see here, click to edit master title slide, click to edit master subtitle slide. So whatever you apply to this master subtitle slide will only apply to our title slide in our normal presentation. For example, let's say okay, we want to go back to observe our normal presentation. This is our normal presentation, and we know that in our normal presentation, our font type for the title is 60, and it's the Ebrima is 24. The title is 60 and the subtitle is what, 24, and it's centered, both are centered. So we want to go to our view, go to the slide master template and go to the title slide. It's 60 in our normal presentation. This is 62, but we think that 60 is small, so we want to increase it to speaker volume to at least stand out. So what we want to do is we want to change it here so that it will cascade to our normal slide template. Okay, so because it's big, so the title slide here it's big, I want to delete some of the content. Okay, for example, deleting some of the content has nothing to do with the normal slide content. This is about styling, about applying colors, about font size, font type, about alignment, about underlining or choosing the font size or the font style that you want to use. So it has nothing to do with the text that you delete. I delete the text because I want to increase the font size so it will fit in the same title slide still now. But this has nothing to do with our normal slide or our text. No, it's just the fonting that you apply or the formatting tips. So we want to increase this to 72. Okay, that's our title slide is 72. And then our subtitle is 24. So we want to increase it to, let's say, we want to increase it to 40, yes. And we want to indent it both to be on the right. You can see that they're all centered. So we want to make it on the right, and we want to also indent this to the right. And we want to apply let's say we want to apply a color. Okay, which color we want to apply this? Let's choose a nice color. Okay, I'm bad in choosing color though. Okay, let's say we want to choose this blue. Okay, and then we choose this nice blue. We know that in our master slide, title slide, we have the font size as 72, and then we have this font size as 44, and they're all blue. So we want to go back to view, and then we go to normal, and then we go to our title slide. Now this is our normal presentation. This is our title slide. What is this? This is 72, and the color is what? Blue, and it aligning right. This is what? 44, and the color is what? Blue, and it's aligning right. You can see whatever we apply to our normal, to our master slide template, it cascaded down to our normal slide, and it is right for us. So we don't have to come here and do it. But remember, this only applies to the title slide. So now we wanted to do that for the rest of the slide, but we have slides here that we want to format. Okay, for example, in the formatting tips, we agree that no text should be below 20.5 points. Font, that's the font type. It should be at least 36 or above. That's the best. You have 36 upwards. We don't want to have less than 36 in our font type. The bigger the text, more important it is. In presentation, the more big your texts are, the more important they are. It speaks a volume because you want to allow the person that sits in the back of the class to able to read your presentation. Okay, 4 bullet points or less is good in a presentation. You don't want to make a note to jam up your presentation so people will have to read over and over. No, you just have to want to have a 4 bullet point that you can just demonstrate and then elaborate more on your own. Use a simple clear slide template, which is just something like there's a white background. Okay, don't use color template. For example, here you can see this is in the second line text. If you want to add a second line text, you can also do it like this. For example, this is a normal text, but I want to use it in the second line text. Okay, in the second line text, you either, if you're someone that use keyboard a lot, you press before the after the bullet, you press the tab button. It will make it a second line text. Or you can either come here and then choose this option is showing that it's indenting it to a second line text. Once you click on this, it indents it to a second line text. So if you notice here, our second line text is 24 and our first line text is 28. You can see the difference. Second line text is 24 and the first line text is 28. If I click on this first line text, this is first line text, this is first line text. They are all 28 point. But if we click on the second line text, you can see this is 24. So we want to change this in the formatting. When we go to the formatting, we want to choose how our second line text will be, how our first line text will be. Remember, I said our second line text is 24 and our first line text is 28. Here it's 28. So we will change this in the formatting when we're going. Okay. Another thing that we will cover is the presentation tips. Only show what you're talking about. We don't want to show the whole PowerPoint that we are talking about, like this, that you're reading everything now. No, we want to show one line, and then once we are done with that, we want to go to the next line. Okay, pause to let your audience read your text. Okay, sometimes you can pause your presentation and allow them to read. Okay, blanco out the screen when appropriate. Never use PowerPoint as note. Don't use PowerPoint as note. This is also a second line text. You can see it here. I already explained how to make a second line text by pressing the tab or by going here to indent it. If you click here, you can see that it's 24 font size. If you click on one of these ones, it's going to be 28. Okay, this we want to convert it into smart art, something that will look nice, as I said in the class. And this we want to project the election results. So once we're done with our title slide, you know that the title slide look good. So now we want to go to the rest of the slides and format everything, but we want to use the master slide template. So once we apply any of the formatting, it will cascade down to the rest of the slide, rather than like what we just did here. Do it here one and come do it to this slide, do it to this slide, do it to the next slide. It will be difficult. So we want to go to view, go to slide master, and now we want to apply to the main master slide, which is the one. Anything that you apply to this main master slide, it will cascade down to the rest of the slide. Okay, we come here. Once we click on this ones, we notice that it is what font size, what, 48. That's the header in our normal slide. So we want to increase this. Okay, this is 48. We want to increase it to, let's say, 60 is okay. Yeah, and we want to choose a color. Let's say I'm bad in choosing color. Let's say dark green is good. Okay, this is 60 dark green, and I want to change the font type as well. Time New Roman is my favorite. So Times New Roman, once you start typing it, it will give you the Time New Roman. This is what I want. Okay, but this is 60, so we want to make it 66. 66 is better, our first line text. So our second line text, and let's say if it's centered, so we want to make it indent to the right. And this is our first line text. Remember, this is our header, and our first line text is what, 28. I already said this, we want to leave it black, but we want to increase the font size, because in our presentation tips we said nothing less than 36, so we want to increase it to 40. Okay, and this is our second line text, which is 24, and we want to increase this to 36 now. Okay, you can see that this is pretty much good, that we are going to have a green background, which is our title, and then we have this as which is going to be 66, and then we have our first line text as 40 instead of 28 now, and our second line text 36 instead of 24. So let's go ahead and view our normal slide and see if this changes that we did in our master slide has already cascaded down to the normal slide. Okay, come here, you can see the change its color is already changed. we already have the we already have the green background color, which is here, and you can see the font size is 66, and it's Time New Romans. Okay, now let's go to the next slide. Here what happened, it's already added the same 66 times New Romans. Let's go to the next title here, 66 times New Romans. Let's go to the next title here, 66 times New Roman. So this is fun that you're able to do it in one of the slides, and it cascades down to the rest of the slides, rather than you having to do it one by one slides. Remember, if you have more than 50 slides to prepare for presentation, or you have more than 40 slides to prepare for presentation, like I do, I have a lot of courses, almost 6 courses that I teach, and each of these courses I have to design presentation every week. So it's going to be difficult if you don't know this method. So this is the standard way of designing a template in a corporate institute template. And let's go and check our font type. This is our font type. You can see it's 40. We change it 40. Before it was 28, and you can see this is our first line text. But let's go to the second line text, which is 36. If you click on the second line text, but before we change it, you can see that it was 24. Now it's 36. Come to the next one, click on the first line text, is 40. It's 40. But if you click on the second line text, it's going to be 36 as well. You see, come here, these are all first line text, which means they are all going to be 40. So which means what we apply, the format that we apply to one of this our template, to our master slide template, it will cascade down to the rest of the template. Okay, So for that being said, we will go back to our master slide template, and now we want to add a corporate institute logo. For example, let's say we want to add something here. Let's say we want to add something in the background. Okay. Yeah, let's say we want to add something in the background. So I will just go to home and then go to saves and then choose this one. Okay, this is what I want to add. No, I don't want it there. We go to home and click on saves, come down here. Okay, let's say we want to add a save. Okay, and we want to change the color to black. Okay, click outside, go to normal view, and then go to normal slide and see what happened. It adds a black background to all of our slide, and it cascades down to all of our slide, as you can see. Okay, it adds a black background to all of our site. There is a reason that I choose this black background, which I'm going to show you on the next slide. For example, here now we want to do something that we call the copyright. Okay, we want to create a copyright. Okay, for our presentation. What we're going to do is we go to the master slide. This is the master slide, and then we go to insert and we choose a text box. Okay, this is a text box. Once you click on it, it will allow you to type, and in the text box we want to create a copyright. In order to create a copyright, you press control open bracket, shift open bracket, and C, letter C. If you press shift close bracket, it will make a copyright logo for you. This is a copyright logo for you. And then I will just write my name, IMA, Ebrima, SARR, ICT, ICT, just ICT is okay because I want to type ICT 101, but because I'm using a recording software that I set one as my recording and two as my pause button. So once I try to type one and two, it will pause the video for me. So I'll just write this. This is my copyright logo for this course. So if you design it on your own, you also have to apply a copyright of your own. So another thing I want to do is I just want to change the background to white. You see everything has disappeared, but it's not disappeared. That was this reason why I choose the black background. So we just want to apply it here. Okay, this is our copyright. But if now, let's see, we only do that in our master slide template, and you can see that it's cascade down to the rest of the slide. So let's close our master slide and then go to our normal slide view and see what happened if you go to the normal slide view. This is my copyright. Go to the next slide. This is my copyright. Go to the next slide. This is my copyright. Go to the next slide. This is my copyright. It's applied the copyright to all the slides. This is awesome. I think it's so beautiful that you can just do one thing on one of the slides and it will cascade down to the rest of the slide without you having to do it one by one. Okay, so the next things that we want to do is we want to add our corporate institute logo. We go back to master slide. Okay, once we go back to the master slide, we go to the slide master itself, and then we want to apply a logo, our corporate institute logo, to one of the slide, and it will able to replicate or cascade down to the rest of the slide. We go to home, we go to insert, we go to photos. You can also select online photos. For example, let me show you. You can also select online photos here without having to worry about photos. You can just click on online photos. If you're searching for an online photo, you can try it here. For example, I want to get the UTG logo. I can go online here if my network is okay. I don't think I'm not connected to the internet, so I will walk offline. So once you're going offline, I'll come here and go to this desktop because I have the UTG logo saved in my desktop, which is here UTG, and click on it. Okay, give it a time, it will come. Okay, once you click on the UTG logo and click on insert, it's a come. Yes, it's coming now. It's here. So we resize it. We want to resize it because it's going to be in our presentation. We want it to look nice and cool and fit in a very particular good fashion. So we want to use you can also use the formatting here, the type of formatting that you want for your logo to look like. Okay. So let's say this, uh, look nice, but I don't like it that way. So I just want to use something like this to have a shadow. Okay, and you can see this is how I did here. But remember, if you want to do this with all the other slides, then you have to copy it, resize it, and paste it. I challenge you that your logo will not look the same size or the same position in all of your slides. And if you have to do this in more than 50 or 30 slides, it will not be fun. But see, we just use our master slide template and we apply to one of the slides. Let's go to view. Oh, here you can also exit the master slide by going to exit master slide. I will show you next time. Let's go to view and then now come to our title slide. What is this? This is our logo. This is our logo in next slide. This is our logo in other slides. This is our logo. So which means it adds the corporate institute logo to all of the slides one by one without us having to do that one by one. So this is the beauty of using the slide master template. Okay, we go back to the slide master template. There's another option that you can exit the slide master template by just coming here to close it. It will take you directly to the normal slide. Okay, you can either go to close it or go back to view and then go to normal. So it's the same. And so now we come back to our master slide template. What do we want to do in our master slide template? We already apply, we go to our normal slide and we already apply this one, and we apply this thing, and we apply the formatting, we apply the data bars, we apply the copyright, and we change the colors. So what we want to do is here, we want to change the bulletin point. Okay, we want to change a different bulletin point. For example, we will go to our slide master, go to the master slide template, come here, go to home. We see that if we choose a different bulletin point, we can have a different bulletin point for our normal slide. Okay, but again, you can choose any one of this and it will just replicate. For example, if I choose this one and then go back to my normal slide, you can see all my bulletin points will have the same slide. But let's say you don't want to use this and you want to use something unique or something nice. Okay, we go to home and go to insert. Here we want to build our own bullet points rather than just remaining on this one. You can also use a picture as a bullet point. For example, if I use the UTG logo picture now, it can turn to be a bullet point for me instead of having to. This is the UTG logo, and then it become a bullet point. Let's go to our normal slide and see. You have the UTG logo as the bullet point. It serves as a bullet point. So this look cool and it's really look nice. Okay, but we don't want to do that. Let's say we want to do something else. Okay, we want to use a different bullet formatting. Okay, come to insert. Okay, go to bullet points, go to this one, and now we want to customize our bullet points. Here you can have option to choose whatever type of formatting that you want. You can choose in Arabic letters if you want to choose. You can come here. This is arrows. You can choose arrows, the arrows that you want. For example, if you choose this arrows or you click on it, you can change the color to blue. Let's say, okay, we want to change the color to blue, and then we apply it. This is arrow instead of the UTG logo. And if you go to our normal slide, you can see that we have arrows that are pointing down to all our. But one thing you can realize that our second point slide, our second letter slide, is not changing because this changes is not applying to it because we only apply to our fourth letter slide, which means I will show you. If we come back to our normal slide here, we only apply it here, and this will leave it with this one. Okay, now we want to leave our normal slide, our second slide, as the UTG logo to be our sub heading, our second slide heading. So in order to do that, we go to home again, we go to select bullet points, and then we want to choose picture format here, walk offline, to allow you to choose from your desktop. I choose from my desktop, use UTG. Here we go, we have UTG in our second point. So if we exit the slide master format and we go to this one, we can see that UTG become our second point format. And if you go to the next slide, we also have UTG, our next second point slide. So this is pretty cool that you know how to design it. And you can change this and just use some Arabic words. It doesn't mean it has to be English words. For example, let me show you how to change it to a different formatted. We can come here, choose a bullet point, okay, customize it the way that you want it. These are arrows. No, I don't want to use arrows. Let's say these are letters and symbols. Okay, oh, I want something to depict my name. Okay, that's Arabic. It's Arabic here. So we could go to Arabic. You can see these are Arabic words that letters that you can use. Okay, these are symbols, some Russian symbols that you can use because I pass it. But if you come here, you have Arabic. These are all Arabics. If you want to use any of these Arabic words, for example, let's say I want to use something. I want to use something like what? Something like this. Okay, I want to use something like this for my bullet point. So I will just click on it, and then that's the color, and I click OK. This is it. Okay, go to our normal presentation and see what will happen. If you go to our normal slide here, what happened? You use this as your bullet point, and it's really look nice. So you can make a unique bullet point. Be careful, I can ask you to do this in textual in an practical exam as well. Okay, for that being said, we are done with the we are done with the bulleting points. So the next thing is I want to add a changing slide. For example, here in our presentation, I want to use this as a changing slide. Okay, I will come here and rename it. Once I rename it, I want to rename it as a changing slide. Okay, see, my H is not working, so my H is not working, so I will just C U T, and G it's not working as well. That's due to my keyboard. So CUTG means a changing slide for UTG template. Oh, let me try to on the on-screen keyboard, so we can use the on-screen keyboard. Okay, that's not a problem. So let's say a changing slide. That's a changing dash UTG. Okay, good. We have the on-screen keyboard thanks to it. So we have a changing slide. We rename this to our changing slides. Okay, now we want to do something like this. We want to delete the existing slide that we have, and we want to change this to our changing slide. Okay, we want to go to placeholder, and then you can use, for example, if you use a text placeholder, it will allow you to put insert text. For example, this is a text placeholder. Okay, I want to delete all these ones. I only need one, which is this one. I just need to delete the bullet point. Okay, I also come to home, and I want to align it. You align it to the middle, and I will just edit, click to edit bios, and I will also come back here. Okay, inside the placeholder, which is a text, and then I will use it here, a smaller one, and say it. Okay, this time I will delete this one and use the second level, no bullet point. Okay, and I will say something like click to enter name. Okay, this is what I want to do. And this is, for example, let's come here and do some little background coloring. Okay, we want to use something like this. Okay, and we want to indent it. We want to indent it to the right. Okay, we want to do something like this. Okay, another thing that we want to do, let's say we want to apply a, we want to change the font size to 48, and we want to change this font size. Okay, that's fine. So this is our changing slide, and we also use a master slide template to use a placeholder. Okay, and now if we close the placeholder and we go to our normal slide, so we want to add our changing slide here in between the between the title slide and in one of the presentation slide. We want to apply it in between. So what we need to do is we click on the title slide because it's on top of the slide. We want it underneath the slide, so we click on the title slide and we go to add new slide. We can see something like a changing slide UTG. This is a slide that we designed in our UTG template. Okay, in our master slide template. If you click on this changing slide, it will apply it automatically. You can see that it's applied the changes there. And I don't have to change the color because it asks you to click and enter BIOS. Once I click it, the BIOS will disappear and it will ask you to enter your biography. This is a second slide. Once it says click to enter name. Once I clicked it, it will change automatically and I will enter the name of the person. And we did not design it here. We designed it in the changing slide. Okay, so if you want to enter a name, let's say if I can remember any of my students' name, oh my God, uh, I'm bad. I remember Mohammed on Friday class. Mohammed. I even don't remember the first name, so I don't get my student's name. Anyway, click to edit bios. You can edit your biography here. Okay, let's say if you want to add a different slide, changing slide, which is not going to be a text slide, which is going to be, let's say it's going to be a picture slide or a graph. Let's say a picture slide. So we go back to our view and then go to our slide master template. This is our changing slide. We come here and delete the changing slide here. Okay, we delete the changing slide here. We go to the placeholder. We want to use a picture as our changing slide. We draw a text box here. Okay, and this is our changing slide and it creates picture. We can choose a color here. For example, you want to choose a nice color. Okay, let's just choose something nice. Okay, we want to choose something like this. Okay, and we say it, we leave it at that. It's just a picture, we leave it at. But if you change, put any name here, the same thing will appear. For example, let's say UTG. Okay, the G has to come from the on-screen keyboard because okay, we have the UTG now, and then we leave it like that. You can close the changing slide. You can close the master slide view here. We just close the master slide view here, and now before we click on the changing slide and it asks us to click here to enter our bios and text. Remember, we delete that. So we want to, now we want to add a changing slide. Okay, come here, go to home, and then choose the changing slide and see what happened. This is the changing slide that we just created now. That's UTG, and it will allow you to enter to insert a photo. Automatically, you will jump here and choose the photo, and it will insert it instead of you having to walk it all the way down to change the photos or to insert or copy photos from desktop and insert it. No, we just want to use the changing slide. That's the use of a changing slide. Okay, so we go back to the master view template and we go to slideshow. Now I wanted to show you something which is which is really important. We want to project something in our presentation. Okay, here we have names and we say we want to present this in a smart art instead of just reading like this. Ebrima Sarr, Azunjan, Fatoumata Sow, Aminata Ba. These are people that are very important to me, so I knew them personally. So instead of having to do it like this way, it doesn't look good and it's look boring. So we want to do something nice. Okay, you right click outside, inside the box, outside the text, and then you come to this where you say convert to smart art, and you choose any of the smart art. Okay, choose any of the smart art that is available. But this is not what we want, because there is no hierarchy in the working environment or anything. We want to go here in this design option here, click on this, and then we choose more layouts. In more layouts, since this is a list of names, you will go to list. If it is a process, like a process in an institution, how a processing is work, like a way of, for example, if you're designing a system and you want to show the process, you can choose a process. If it is a water life cycle, for example, you explaining the water life cycle. Or if it is a hierarchy, for example, you have the boss, you have the assistant, you can choose this. If it is a relationship between metrics and other things, you can choose it. But in our own case, it's a list of names that we have. We just come to list, and then we choose one of the lists here. Okay, for example, I want to choose a list of names that have photos in it, so I can insert the names of the persons, and then at the same time it will give me the chance to insert the photo. So this is something that we do in class. I will use the same one here. You have it. You have Ebrima Sarr, and you have the small logo, small photo option here that you can click and insert a photo. The same with Asan, the same with Fatima, the same with Aminata. But this color, it's not nice. For example, I want to use a corporate institute color. UTG, we know the color is what? Blue and white. We know blue and white is our color. So we want to use something that would depict our color if you're designing it for a corporate institute template. But if you just design it for the sake of designing, you can just use, which is what you are now, because we are doing this as a professional designer in PowerPoint, which is a very powerful tool. And then you can choose a different 3D format, different way of formatting. These are 3D formats that you want to choose. For example, I want to choose this one. It looks really nice. So it's now time for you to start choosing your photos. Okay, working offline, because we are not connected to the internet and we don't need anything in the internet. So once I am working offline, I want to go to the desktop. For example, let's say I want to choose a photo, and then okay, oh, I don't have photos there. So I will go to the desktop here, and then I have photos, but I forget where I have my photos in my desktop. Okay, here we go. There's the Apple logo. Here we go. Okay, this is my grandma, that's my niece. So I will start to choose photos one by one. Okay, that's nice, Fatima. Okay, we choose another one. Okay, this is my grandma. Okay, that's my grandma. I miss you so much. And that's my, okay, we choose a different photo, for example. Oh, we come here and I want to see Khadija. Yes, Khadija is here. We come here. Okay, I want to see who else again. Aminata. Aminata, where are you? You have to come, Amina. Okay, we want to use this. I have no filters of Amina. So you see, this is the type of presentation I want to have. To have my presentations look like this, that you have name of people, that you can read their name and then have their database. Okay, you can also come here to change the color of this data bar. For example, if you want to change this color of this data bar, you can also change it. You can come here and change the shape of this data bar to any color that you want, like the processing color that you want. Let's say this color look good. Okay, we leave it at that one. So you can see in our presentation, we said only show what you are talking about. Don't show something that you are not talking about. Okay, Pause to let your audience read your text, okay? Blank out the screen when appropriated. Never use PPT as a note. You don't read to your audience. So we want to follow these rules here, this formatting or this presentation tips, and we apply it to our presentation. For example, now here in our presentation, who works here? You can read Ebrima Sarr, Asanjan, Fatimata So, Aminata Ba. We don't want our audience to read this when you're doing a presentation. So we want to choose animation, and we choose animation, and we choose something like this. No, we want to choose something like this. Fly in, yeah. And then we go to our slide and we said fade, okay? If you do that, you go on effects option and you set one by one, okay? You apply it one by one. Otherwise, it will all come into one. And remember, if you say it one by one, it will appear like this one by one. Remember, in our presentation here, we said only show what you are talking about. Pause to let your audience read your text. Blank out the screens when appropriate. Never use PowerPoint as a note. Don't read to your audience. So we want to do our presentation for this slide and see how it will look. Remember, this is the presentation button. If you click on this, let me show you the option for this button. First, you can do this. You can see that it will change your presentation layout into this type of layout if you choose this button. So we don't want that. We want to maintain this way. But if you click on this one, it's a slideshow presentation. It will start to display your presentation in a slideshow format. Let's go ahead and click it and see what happens. Okay, you're not saying anything. Who works here? Now we ask the question, who works here? And then we wait for people to respond. They will start to respond. Is Mamadou, is Ebrima? Then you just click on the enter key, and then it gives them more fancy look. Wow, something is coming up. What is it? You press it. Ebrima Sarr. If it is a description, there is a description, then it will bring the description down in this data bar and explain about it. After finish explaining about Ebrima Sarr, you just click on the next one. I mean, Asan Jang, which means you are now doing what you said in your presentation tips, that do not allow your audience to read. Only show what you're talking about. You're talking about this pattern Azan, only show Azan. Once you're done talking about Azan, you click the enter key and it's bring the next pattern, which is Fatimata. Once you're done with Fatimata, you press the enter key, it gives you Aminata. Once you're done with Aminata, that's the last one, and it will ask you that you end up your slide. For example, let's say if we want to have a description, so we want to change this design. Then if you want to change this design, which means we need to have a description then. Okay, if you want to have a description, let's say we want to have a name with description. For example, this, you have names with their description. You explain this. Once you type a particular person, once you run your PowerPoint presentation, it will show the description of that person. You finish talking about it, it gives you the name of the next person and show the description, then you continue talking about it. For the sake of you to understand, that's why I just show you the other option. Okay, now we have the final option, which is our, we want to project the election results. Okay, for example, we want to predict an election. This is the 2021 election, okay, presidential election. We want to center this and we want to project the election here. In order to do that, we want to call something like Excel PowerPoint. We use Excel inside PowerPoint. Okay, once you click on this Excel, this is a data table, okay, that we already created. I want to delete it and show you from scratch how to create this data table. Okay, I will just show you from scratch how to create this data table. For example, this is Excel table. This is just a normal table that you can see on Excel. This is normal raw data that we just created. Okay, on this raw data that we created, for example, let's say, okay, let's say I want to make this 9 and red and red in 98. Okay, in this we'll say we want to make it 87500. Okay, and this one we want to make it 980790. Okay, for example, this is our election results so far that we just collected, like IEC just randomly get this vote, and we now want to visualize it so that the image, once there is a vote casting, you can see it through the image. Okay, in order to do that, this is a raw data. We want to convert it into table form. I already told you that in order to convert a raw data into table form, use the keyboard. There is a button in the keyboard that is called CTRL, which is control, and press the T button. It will highlight everything for you and ask you if you want to make it in a table form. And it will also ask you if your table has a header. Yes, tick yes, your table has a header because you have this presidential election, and then you have BBC, KMC, double something like this, and then you click OK. It change, make it a table for you. Come here through the formatting and choose the table that you want. I want to choose a green table. I will choose a green table. That's it. So now I want to have the total number of votes for NPP throughout the election in Banjul, in KMC, in West Coast region, in LRR region, in North Bank region, in CRR region, in URR region. I want to have the total of all the vote casted for NPP. In order to do that, you have to calculate all these rows, add them one by one. But the beautiful thing about Excel is there is a function called the AutoSum function, which is here. In order to do that, you just click on the empty box that you want to have the total and click on AutoSum. You can see that now it's highlight everything for you. What are you going to do? It's just press the enter key and it will give you the value for that one. And what you realize that it sums everything now. If you go to UDP, the same thing, it gives you the total value. If you go to PDOIS, the same, it gives you the total value. And if you go to GDC, it's the same, it gives you the total value. So this helps you to get the total value of all these parties without having to add it one by one, because there is something called autocorrect that I use. If you click on this option here, undo auto calculation, I don't want to undo auto calculation because it's easy. What I want to do is whenever I answer a particular value, just one row, I want the Excel to calculate the rest of the values for me. The same way here, we want to know BCC, Banjul City Council, how many votes that we Banjul have voted during the election. Come here, click on this box, and then use the auto function. It answers this, and then if there is no auto field that is added for you, what you need to do is you click and drag. Click and drag all the way down here. And if you give, it will give you the total number of votes for each region. But we can see something like this, which is a hash value. It's not an error value, error message. You can see that if you all take your cursor over it, it will give you the figure, which means there is no error message in this, which means the value doesn't fit inside the data. What you need to do is you take your cursor above and then double click on it. If you double click on it, it will expand the cell for you and it will give you the total number of votes, the total of the whole total, which is here 16,979,640. Okay, after doing this, now we want to project this into a chart. You click on one of the data inside the table, go to insert and use recommended chart. Once you click on recommended chart, it will give you option to choose on any of this chart. Okay, so I want to choose just a nice recommended chart. No, let's say before that I just want to delete the total value of the total. Okay, I just want to use the recommended chart. Okay, let's say this is what I want to do. Okay, this is what I want to do, and we have our chart here. You can see in the chart that will telling you, that is telling you that the highest number of vote cast in the election, it's around West Coast region that you can see in the chart here. And then we see data bars, which is the NPP has the blue color, UDP this color, PDIS this color, GDC this color. Anyway, just to let you know, this is just a it's just a prediction, just for class, nothing different or nothing exceptional or any other motive apart from teaching. So these values are something that I just entered randomly. I don't have time to be predicting the elections or whatever it is. Okay, so you can also choose the colors here and differentiate the colors. This is why I don't even want to change the colors or to change the colors for a particular party. No, I just leave it like that to show you that it's just a random value. So what we need to do is we want to project this to our to our Excel, to our PowerPoint using Excel. So I will copy this chart. I'll come here and copy the chart. Okay, once I copy the chart, I will go to my PowerPoint presentation and paste it here. Okay, I'll paste the chart in the PowerPoint presentation. You can see that now we have the chart in the PowerPoint presentation, which is the election results. Okay, we want to reduce the size so we can able to see clearly and work with it clearly. Okay, so this is what we want to do. Okay, so from here you can start to do your filtering. Once you click on this filtering options, it's giving you option to do your filtering. For example, if you just want to filter a particular categories, you can just select everything out, and then you can, if you run it now, you can see that it will only filter for the data bars instead of the regions. So we don't want to do that now. What we want to do is we want to come here and we want to choose a data bar as data bar that will allow us to have data on top of the bars so that we can read the margins. If the margin is tight, for example, they're in the same range of, like, let's say 200,000 or something like that, we want to have the same range. Okay, we go to this one and then you choose something called this the data level. Okay, we want to choose this data level. Okay, our title don't need an axe because we already have the title axe, so we will remove it. Okay, chat title, we will remove the chat title as well. Data level, it's okay, error guidelines, so this is okay. But then we want to change the type of chat that we are using. Okay, we want to filter and change the type of chat that we are using. Let's say this color doesn't look really good. Okay, we will use this color. All right, and then we come here. Also, you can come here to change the chart type if you want to change the type of chart that you choose. If there is any mistake or anything that you don't like the chart, you can come here and choose different type of charts that are available that you can change from. For example, if you come here, the column charts, you can choose the ones that you want. You can see the different type of column charts. You see, we want to use this. Okay, this is what we want to use. For example, you have BCC, the different parties, and then you have KMC, the different parties, and then you have GDP, the different parties. Okay, if we're using this chart, then we want to remove the data bars. Okay, we come here and remove the data bars. We come here and remove the data bars. Let's say we want to use a data level. No, no, no. We just come here to remove the data bars. Okay. Okay. Okay, this is what we want to use. Let's say this is what we want to use. You can see NPP, this is NPP. They have this blue color, and then you have the PDOIS, you have the CA, and then you can have the double Wato TJ, GDC. You have different charts, and this blue, thick blue, is the total. You can see here the thick blue is the total here. From here, you can read that in BCC, there's two parties. They're close to each other, which is the UDP and then the NPP. Okay, but it's still now I am not okay with this type of chart, so I'm gonna change the chart type. We go to chart type and we want to change the chart type. I I just want to choose something simple and nice. Okay, remember you can also choose bar chart and water flow chart. Okay, let's use this one. It's okay. Okay, this is what we want to use. This is okay, right? You can see BCC. This colors will represent the parties, and the data bars, they will use the color of their party to represent their data. For example, if you come to the total number of votes here, the total, you can see that NPP is leading, which is NPP here. They are leading with this blue bar. That's the total number of votes cast in the election so far. And you can see UDP. You can see the second person is the what PDOIS, and you can see the third is UDP, and then you can see that the fourth is what GDC. It's only count the fourth for you, the one, two, three, four. So we know the remaining are not part of the competition. Or it's unfair and a way to mark them out. But another thing that we can do from here is we can go on and edit data. Let's see if we do some editing after knowing that this is the election results that have been covered so far. So we want to do something like editing the data. Okay, this is the chart. We drop it down. Okay, okay, we want to drop that chart down there, and we want to edit the data. Let's say PDOIS. Okay, we go where PDOIS. Oh, PDOIS. Let's say PDOIS in Banjul. Okay, in Banjul. Let's say we want to, because they have a lot of supporters in Banjul, so we want to give them some good votes in Banjul. Okay, PDOIS in Banjul. Just they have 987 votes. Okay, and we can see now PDOIS is taking the lead. It's taking the lead now. Yeah, it's taking the lead because we change the data for a particular region. So this is how you project or visualize the election results. For example, in the US, they use a college vote. If a particular region won a college vote, they would use the college vote to cover to use the map and color the region for the map. So our next tutorial, we will use the map of the Gambia, and we will start to color those areas that based on the party that is leading there, or based on the party that is winning there. But it's also a different thing because in the US they only have two type of parties, which is the Democrats and the Republicans. So if the Republicans are winning, they just use the color of the Republicans to color that area. Then they count a college vote instead of us counting a region. Okay, but you can know, like, if you change a particular vote for a particular region, it's move, it changed the data bars, and then this visualizing, it's helping you to do your analysis and know what is happening. Okay, you can also come here, and then for example, we want to do some analysis, and then we just want to talk about, for example, we just want to talk about Banjul. Okay, we just want to talk about KMC, BCC, Banjul. So we will check everything out and just leave Banjul. Okay, if you're watching this from a TV show or from a TV station, and then the election is going and they just project Banjul. Okay, this is now taking me back because I close it. They just project Banjul, and we see this is the only candidates that have votes in Banjul. The remaining parties have zero in Banjul, because we're now talking about only Banjul. And we know in Banjul, then who is leading in Banjul, which is PDOIS, and the second is what? NPP, and the third is what? UDP, and the fourth is what? GDC. So we go to another region. Let's say we want to project another region. Okay, we selected here, and we finish projecting Banjul, the counting, and then we want to go to KMC to start counting KMC. We go to KMC and then click OK. What happened? You can see it start to count KMC. Okay, this is Banjul, this is BCC, and this is KMC. Okay, we can see in KMC who is leading Barrow, in Banjul who is leading PDOIS, but in KMC, Barrow is leading, and then Halifa is coming second, and then UDP is coming third. We also want to project. This is what you are seeing in the image, and then you will be excited that, oh, We won in Banjul, we won in Kanifing, so we are waiting for, let's say, CRR. Okay, you're waiting for CRR and the data analysis using their Excel will be going to CRR. Now check CRR after entering everything into the Excel sheet and confirm it. They will check CRR and allow it to visualize. Once they click CRR, they will allow CRR to visualize, which is here. Okay, we are done with CRR. We want to move to the next one. So from now on, we will just check all of them to see the final election results. Okay, once we check everything and we check the total, now we can see the final election results is done. And then with this is PDOIS, they are leading, they're winning the election, and then Barrow is coming second, and then UDP is coming third. But let's say we went to West Coast region, around West Coast region, and then yeah, Barrow is really dominating in West Coast region because of the project or whatever he is doing in West Coast region. The people in that region like him so much, and then yeah, they want to vote for him. Okay, and they give him a good number of votes, which is 99900. Okay, Barrow is having this in West Coast region. Okay, but still Halifa is leading. And then say, okay, we went to KMC in Barrow. It also increases some vote. Oh, okay. Let's say no Banjul. They say what Banjul. They say they're Barrow. They're Barrow. So we give them. Oh, okay. We give them 98521. Oh, 99899. Okay, we can see Barrow is now very close to this guy Khalifa, which is NPP is now coming close. You can see the more we add values, the more the data bars are going up and down, and then from here you can see a visual image of everything. So we're done with this projection, and then from the studio, this is what we do with our analysis and everything. We want to present it to the audience that are watching the TV and waiting for the election results. Let's say that's what we want to do. Okay, we will go to animation, and then we will go to animation, and then we use fade, something like this. You can use a different one. It's up to you to choose the one that you want. Okay, you can just choose anything that you want. If you do that, you're gonna make people crazy because they're waiting to read the values and then you're just bumping it in and out. Okay. Yes, we want to use something like that. Once you do that, come here and then you apply by series or by category. You can see you can apply by series or by categories. Okay, we want to apply by categories and see. By category, we will deal with a particular region, and then we deal with another region. That's what we want to do. But we don't want to use the bouncing anyway, because the bouncing it's crazy. Okay, we want to use the well. Okay, this is what we want to use. Now I will just use fade in. Okay, you can have the option to choose any one that you want. It's up to you. But we also applying effects by what category. So we want a particular category to come. For example, Banjul. All the parties in Banjul will come and we talk about Banjul. Remember, this is the studio and you're out there as the audience. So now I will do the presentation using the PowerPoint presentation. And then here we welcome you to the final results of the elections that you're about to witness the voting announcement for our different regions. And now we will start. This is the parties, and this is the number of votes that we expect. This year will be close to 6 million, but not more than 6 million votes if all the people that registered will vote. It will not be up to 6 million, but it will be close to 6 million, for example. And these are the parties that are registered to vote, which is NPP, UDP, PDOIS, GDC, CIA, and double T. In case you don't know, this is mean Citizen Alliance, and this is mean Watu TJ. Okay, and we have the different region. This is BCC, Banjul City Council, KMC, West Coast Region, Lower River Region, North Bank Region. You continue naming them. Okay, from here, everyone will eager to know what is coming next. Which region are we starting? So we want to start with particular region. For example, let's say we want to start with Banjul. You just press enter from the studio and you let the projection or the visual image appear, and everyone will know, oh, Barrow it's lead in Banjul. Okay, Halifax second, UDP third, and then who's this last guy? GDC, and then which means Citizen Alliance and Watotije, they don't have any vote in Banjul. They have zero votes in Banjul. Okay, so that's fine. So we go to the next one. Okay, which is what? KMC. We know Barrow is also leading in KMC, and then the this guy UDP second, UDP no, not second, Halifax is second, UDP is third, and then still now the GDC will be third. Okay, we go to the next one. This is close to head, which is the West Coast region. Barrow is leading, but UDP is very close to it, and Halifax is also very close to it. So we know here the voting is high. It's go all the way to 1 million votes. Okay, in Banjo. But when we go to KMC, the voting is down. The number of people expected to vote are not. They don't go out to vote. Okay, so you can see in the graph, the prediction here will tell you that this region have not voted really. Okay, but here West Coast region, you can see the voting, the number of people that vote is going higher, so which means it's go high again, and the total number of votes, if we count them in this region, is close to 3 million. It's more than 3 million, 3.5 million. Okay, we go to the next. Okay, if you go to the next, what we have here is that we have we have GDC that is leading, okay, and then we have NPP second, UDP third, and GDC fourth. Okay, I forgot to mention something. It's not isn't this is an oversight. It's not something that I have done deliberately to project it and left CA and Wato TJ out. When I was checking my data or unchecking my data in the Excel format, you can see that I mistakenly unchecked all of them. And when I was marking it back, I only marked these four parties without marking this one. So that's why they will never visualize. But again, this is for the purpose of a class. After this one, I will also check them and then display it again. So we will run it fast and then we check everything. Okay, we want to come here and check everything. Select data. If you see here, if we come here, we want to check everything here, and then we go. Okay, and this is the total number of votes. Okay, so we check everything now. So we want to go out and then continue the presentation.